Just really quickly, briefly going over what we did yesterday with the fifths and the thirds. The Loomis method has equal fifths and thirds going up the face and across the face. Our thirds, bottom of the chin to the bottom of the nose, to the brow, to the hairline, equal distance in between those four lines. In order to get our equal distance in between our 5 columns going across, all we do is bisect one of our thirds, and that's going to create the width of our nose, the width of our eyes, the width of the eye, or the corner of the eye to the edge of the ear, corner of the eye to the edge of the ear. This one we don't really see. Okay. Yesterday we worked predominantly in this middle section of the nose. We broke the nose down a lot from the brow, made our trapezoids, making sure that our lines, our contour lines of our nostrils fit all the way up to our fifths. If they don't, the noses become really, really slender and very, very Byzantine-ish and very, very reptilian, really. We had another, we trisected our nose down the middle so that we have going up, going across, coming down. We figured out that the bulb of the nose was about a little around a third of the nose. So if I trisect that whole column again, we talked a little bit about finding a mushroom shape in the nose so that we have symmetry. Our nostrils connect with our center line. And in the end, we added a little bit of our shadow side contour, nothing on the highlight side. It will make a little bit more sense once we start adding value to the actual artwork. A little bit of a difficult task getting the other class to get the side of the head in here. If this becomes a really, really straight line, and this becomes a straight line, she looks more like Dolph Lundgren than whoever she is. She's not a boxer, I don't think, but she doesn't have that boxy of a jaw. So pay attention to the distance between this point and this point. We determined that the edge of her head, we have an x-axis going out from the corner of her eye straight across. The edge of her head is just past center. Like you might as well just go center. And we said if we have that apex, and then we have this apex here from the chin going up, we have if this is the center of a clock, we said this is coming down to about 630. So it's not a straight line. It's not going to 7. If she went to 7, she becomes very narrow, very, very slim. Doesn't look terrible, but looks a little emaciated, a little skeletal. So be careful with that. Determine the edge or the angle of her chin. I went really linear here. I can give a little bit of jowl underneath, and I can do that with shadow, or if I want to, I can do it with line contour, making sure that she's not too chiseled, okay, a softer touch. On the opposite side, we don't really see the edge of the ear. We know it's there because we know that from the corner of my eye, an eye across to the left is going to be another ear. What we did was we looked at how much skin we saw from the corner of the eye to where that hairline comes down. We eyeballed it. You can do that with anything. We know that that line is almost vertical. Comes down, run a little bit past first, and we have this S curve. We determined that it started arching about here, comes down a little bit into the chin, and then we have this y-axis. It goes up right into our pupil. X and Y axes, same thing that we did with still lives, applies here. It's a really hard edge, soften it out. If you need to erase anything, you should be able to take enough out if you're not pressing down too hard. Okay. But like I said, the biggest thing from the first class is this line. If you have this line as the center of your mouth, bring that up. The top of your mouth is half the distance from here to here. So that's the top of your top lip, bottom of your bottom lip, somewhere in between, you have your the center line of your mouth. All right. Let's go ahead and block in the ear over here. There's a bit to do before I get around and walk around and see how you guys are doing. If you guys have questions, or if I start barreling through this too quickly, hey, Mr. Ball, chill out. What did you do here? How did you measure that? And I'm happy to discuss. Everything is right here in our reference. It's a little marked up, but we can still see. Right, you're looking down a little bit. The top of the ear is just above our eyes. So basically lines up with our eyelid. We know that our fifth box, our fifth column over here, houses the edge of the head, the edge of the ear, and the entire ear. So I'm saying that the top of my ear, x-axis going straight across, a little bit above my eye. Not much, but a hair. The bottom of my ear, just above the bottom of my the bottom of my nose. So I'm up a little bit. If this is the bottom line of my second row, come up a little bit, comes out, arches, and I like to bisect my ears into the top and the bottom. You can kind of see a crease right here before it changes directions. Think about those things, those really minute, small details. What's up? How wide? Because we determined that because of our fifth over here, right? Our fifth column, we said that the edge of our head in our fifth column, this red line right here, that is half that distance, right? From here to here. Don't think about ears or eyes or anything. Just say, all right, what's half of this distance? Right there. And we said 630. That angle is 630 ish. Okay, make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we know that the ear is going to be housed inside of this, what's left of this column. All right. Ears are something that freak people out. Stop letting it freak you out. It's just an ear. There's a little bit of hair that comes into it. All I'm going to do is just kind of color that in a little bit. So I see a little bit of the top of the ear. See a little bit of this angle coming down, almost 630 again. This angle of my cheek or my the edge of my face, very similar to the angle here. So, parallel line comes out a little bit. I have this amorphous looking C. A lot of the details in ears come from value, subtle value changes as the ear rolls over. For our purposes, she's got a Nike check right here. So if I have that Nike check, just an arch, color it in a little bit, really lightly. Nike check. I can draw one of those. I can't draw ears very well, but damn it, I can draw a Nike check. Draw a Nike check instead. And I've got this sideways looking teardrop thing. Starts just below my hair. So my hair is here. Hair goes just a hair below my eye. So right here, I've got the start of that. I've got the ending of it here. There's a little bit of negative space, this white space here. You can color it in lightly. If you drew small, this becomes tough. Don't freak out. Got a little bit of my Nike check continuing down here, and it creates this Y looking shape, this wishbone looking shape. Zoom in on things so that you don't get burdened by all the other details that we haven't done yet. If you see any changes in angles, feel free to add those. Good on the ears. Questions on the ears. A lot of these lines are going to get thinned out too. As a contour drawing, it might look a little funky. Once they get thinned out and rolled over, it'll start to make it look like it's receding around the head. This will start to look like it's coming around the bottom of the chin. As a line work, it might look a little rough. Once you start getting into the value, a lot of these things that you might be bothered by tend to go away a little bit. Right, my neck, my y-axis, right at my neck, it's basically right at the corner of my eye, right here on my chin. So y-axis straight down, almost a straight line, more or less a straight line. And when you see that space here, the way that this T works versus the way yours works, if you need to drag the neck out a little bit further, go for it. Avoid dragging your neck in. Lollipop necks are things that piss off your subject, unless you're drawing a bobblehead. We're not. We're shooting for accuracy here, a little bit more accuracy than we would have before. No lollipop necks. Make sure that the neck is big enough to support her head. And then we've got an ending point down here on her V-neck. Somewhere around here, you can measure that out. Something that we'll do with the hair, we might as well do it now. How many eyes do we have from the bottom of the chin? Do the V-neck, a little bit more than an eye. So I can take my cheat sheet. So I got the width of my eye here. A little bit more than an eye. Angle. Just like with still lives, try not to draw a line directly from here to here. Try and piece it together. Draw a little bit there, and draw a little bit here. Give yourself a stopping point on the hair, contour the hair. Right there, that angle. Got her collar, starts here on the neck. Comes down this way. I'm not going to worry about where it stops. Right under this line. If I kept this line going out right here, dips a little bit to the bottom. That's where my hair is going to come in. Ends here on my ear. There's a little bit of space, about half an eye here from midway point. Just piece it together. Bring it in a little bit, actually. Comes out of my ear, top of my ear, somewhere around here. When you think of your head, you've got front plane, got your side planes, you've got the top plane. So our head comes over and you see a little bit of the top of your head as you're looking at someone. So this would be the top line of our third. So this is our hairline. All this becomes cranium and hair. Okay. Same thing over here when you have your ears. Okay. When you have your ears, you see a little bit of the cranium come out from behind. So make sure that your hair is not planted onto any contours right here. She's not, even if you were drawing a bald person, the back of the head comes out more so into the top of the ear than directly by it. Make sense? Right. Like I said, this top line, this is our forehead. This creates our forehead. Above that is our hair. Beginning artists all the time, they'll try and bring this down and have that be the top of the head and the top of the hair. And there's nowhere for anyone to have brains. Make sure that you have enough room for a forehead and enough room to house your brain or her brain. Frank Riley, another artist like Loomis, would draw in a circle here from the edge of your eyebrow, usually here to show the frontal plane. You don't need to do that. Just know that this line, if I bisect it here or bisect the head, that's going to create my widow's peak for her hair, and comes out a little bit. And she's platinum blonde, so it doesn't look like there's much of a run on the photo reference, but our line, here's our center line, our line is going to come out a bunch before it really starts to arch. It doesn't show it as much in a contour because of how blonde she is, how lost of a line this becomes. So when you add it lightly, and then when you make your run down the face, go a little bit bolder. Avoid a single line. Try to give yourself options. Marry yourself to the option that you like the most. A lot of this is just going to get blended out anyway. And on the opposite side, we've got this teardrop of shadowed hair. And that's created by this flow. So I've got my ending point here. I've got my starting point here. It's not nearly as dramatically vertical as this side. It's more of a Z-axis, diagonal. Comes up a smidge, down. And the top of her hair comes up a bit, it's almost like a hammer. The handle, hammer. All your lines going with the flow of the hair, similar to what we did with fabric. As long as all your lines are going with the flow of the hair, it's going to start to look voluminous. Once we add the value, it'll start to look like she's got a full head of hair. If you're just drawing single lines, wiggly lines, it's going to look like she has just a few strands of hair. Don't want that. As far as the top of the head, I drew her a little too high up on my paper to show the top of the head. Is that bad? No. You're just going to draw her off the page. As far as how tall the top of my head is, kind of nice. From here, my widow's peak or my Loomis line for the forehead, I've got an eye and a quarter to the top of my head. So I've got my cheat sheet. You know that my eye is this long, and a quarter of that is basically there. So the top of my head is going to be here. I'm not going to draw them. Okay. If you did the same thing, you don't need to draw. Don't try and shrink her head in to fit on this paper. Just know that if I drew off the page, the top of my head is going to be right there. Now coming over, that's where we can use some measuring tools. Where I have this contour right here for the hair, I know that it ends here and it comes up a little bit at an angle. Feel free to run past first base, changes directions, comes down here. This distance is a little bit wider than this distance, is a little bit wider than this distance, so it tapers. Keep sitting back from her so you can see the broader picture, the bigger picture. I'm not going to worry about the partner hair just yet. All right. Liam not here? All right, let's get this side of the head done before the end of class, and then I'll walk around, see how you guys are doing. I will get this video rendered and hopefully posted during the same time, so we don't have to worry about it. We've got our our first column over here, from this dot to this dot. And we know that if we have that here, that same width, the edge of the head comes out about another fifth. So the edge of her hair is about here. Again, piece it together. It doesn't really get much closer than this right here. Comes up Like I said, line goes off the page. Broad lines, really broad lines. Bit of an angle going top right to bottom left. Work with your entire arm. Relax, guys. Once you get to about here, start trying to eliminate some of your pilot lines, any of those Loomis lines that we started with. We're going to add a bit of value to this tomorrow. It'll hide some of them, some of them errant marks. If you have a lot of marks that aren't erasing, don't worry about it. Seeing the artist's hand is not a bad idea. You can use graphite instead of charcoal for your projects. You can use the iPad's sketchbook app or the Fresco app. One of the other guys in the last class was using the Fresco app just to try it out. But we will get to a stopping point about here. And then we'll add the value tomorrow.